Going on, guys? Looks haven't done a live one in the evening for a while, but yeah, we'll see. It's a laundry day, so got a little blast from the past T-shirt here. Hot dog eating champion there on the bottom. So all right, this is going to be a TTI. There's treasure inside. John Collins back, aka JCB, aka John to his friends. That's the book we're going to cover today. It's 1 year, well, not exactly 1 year, it's a little bit over 1 year anniversary for his treasure hunt. So we're going to cover a couple new interviews, right? There's Treasure Hunt with Us, Calazar's One Clue Short of a Treasure Hunt, which I'll probably say this multiple times, but I had the great pleasure to meet Eric. It's the creator of One Clue Short of a Treasure Hunt, and just an all-around great guy. Met him in Pennsylvania, got a chance to chop it up with him a little bit. I've watched a couple of his episodes. I haven't really deep dive any of them, but his interview with John I thought was pretty well. And there was a couple good questions in there. So I watched, and then I also did Jenny Kyle. So I know there's a couple more interviews that that John did. I just I wanted to go ahead and put something out there. People were asking for it, and I wanted to kind of chop it into two because it'd be if it was like 6 or 7 interviews I'm trying to condense into one 30-45 minute episode, it'd be kind of a lot. So I kind of did those particular ones and then condensed it to some notes to just kind of do a general update for where I am, my opinions on John's boxes, on TTI, the Treasure Inside, right? For those of you who are just getting into this channel, right, Essie's Quest, this is more my opinions and just kind of my viewpoints. I don't always like to, I do like to talk, but I don't always like to hog the mic for extended times on Discord or in any other public server. So I would say different treasure hunt channels have their niches. Some are really great at breaking news. Some are really great at hunter interaction. Some, have a lot of been around for a long time, so they have a lot of pull in the community, and they have a vast, a wide reach for all different kinds of treasure hunt creators. Mine's pretty much it used to be very narrow focused. It's slowly expanding as far as treasure hunt goes, but this channel we mainly cover Justin Posey with his Beyond the Map's Edge. We cover John Collins Black with There's Treasure Inside. And we just started covering Chad Bird, Treasure Quest, right? So those are the main ones we cover. I'm trying to think of, every once in a while I'll do a hunter interview if there's like a specific thing I want to cover. And then I also have other hobbies and other interests on this treasure hunt channel, on my channel, Essie's Quest, but I try to put them in playlist, right? So if you're ever confused, just pick the playlist you like and subscribe to that playlist, right? So I think that might keep things easy. It may be, I don't know, it seems easy to me that way. All right, so not too much fluff today. Let's go ahead and get into what's up, Captain Kidd. How you doing, Captain? P5G. And Jane Fenton King, welcome. We're going to go ahead and cover some new information and some revisit some old information that we now look at a different light. Again, this is all for There's Treasure Inside, John Collins Black, TTI, right? So for the 5 small boxes and the large one, all right? You're an earth spender. Get some hair. I don't know what earth spender means, but I do have some hair. I bought some. I've got a wig. So I've got a couple wigs. Maybe one day we'll do a wig day. Good day to you, sir. Good good afternoon. Yeah, I don't know what earth spender means. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm trying to think of what order I want to do this in. Well, I have it up, so let's go ahead and cover Jenny. All right, her six more questions. Right, Coley, all good. You got to play some. I don't know if I can play Drake on here. I think I get copyright or something like that. All right, I don't know. All right, so here we go. This is Jenny's questions. He was very kind. Answered 6 more questions from Jenny. All right, so let's go ahead and get into those. The first one that I thought was pretty impactful was almost 1 year into the hunt. Jenny asked, are searchers close within 100 feet or less? And he answers right off the bat, wonderful things may take time to acquire. It's a little smiley face there. But this is pretty breaking news when it came out. A lot of people were just like, oh, is it me? This is John's words. I'm fairly certain searchers have been on the path that leads to the Pokemon box. It is likely some of them have been fewer than 200 feet from this box. So, I don't know John enough. I don't know him that well to know what his little tells and what he means by fairly certain, right? With other treasure hunt creators, when they say to my certain or uncertain knowledge, it kind of gives us a little bit, right? That's the tell. I don't know John enough to well enough to know what he means by I'm fairly certain, right? If I send John an email saying, "Hey John, here's a picture of me on this path," he knows I'm on that path, right? If he's reading Discord and he hears people talk about Hemden Hollow, talk about the Big Goat Trail or something like that in Buffalo National River, like he's certain. So so here's one of the ways I take it when he says I'm fairly certain searchers have been on the path. I almost want to say it's like an offshoot or an unmarked path off of a main path that he's seen people on, right? Or he could just be covering himself, and that could be, again, we don't know. I'm just trying to get to know John. That could be his way of saying, that's his way of saying to my uncertain knowledge, right? Let's go ahead and scroll back. I see this zooming by. Long time listener, first time caller, Barry Casey. What's going on, Frogman? How you doing, Barry Casey? 9144. I mentioned this in a previous live stream. Oh, no worries, Cole. I don't want to make you nervous. I'm really sorry to point this out. Looks like you might be getting a bald spot. I'm gonna have to start eating some vitamin H or something. I might have to do a comb over or something, trying to comb that over. Keep up the great work. Draft Spooky. You may come across. You should come work in my compound. We need watchtower operators for the Timberwolf attacks. They truck away fjord last week. The Swiss Alps. Good chocolate up there, maybe. Watchtower operators. Oh, that seems like it's fun. Do you provide armaments or something? Can you please look directly in the camera? This is for you, Kevin. Ready? Eye contact. There you go. Hope it helps, Kev. Hope it helps. I asked. I did. I got a little bit slow, Kevin. Can you please look? J Money, do you want to know how he can be so certain because the map called no trails? Right. So J Money, I got that. His words are, I'm fairly certain, right? So I just don't know. I don't know if the fairly word is his way of covering in case something happens, right? Instead of saying, I know, right? He could say, I know searchers have been on the path. That's 200 feet. Or I'm certain 200 feet, right? But to say I'm fairly certain, it just adds a little bit of covering. And if you have the all trails, if someone's sending you emails and pictures, then you don't need the fairly. It just seems odd. But again, I'm still learning, John. There's not that much data with the Pokemon about it. So I just leave it open, right? That's the point I was trying to make, J Money. I don't know if you if you missed that or not. Josh Ball, what's going on? Strawberry Elephant, how you doing? Reed. Pirate Beard is good. Yeah. So again, I was looking at Johnny Depp closer again, and he doesn't have the full. He's got like a mustache, and then a little bit of chin stuff, and then like some scraggly stuff. So the costume contest is until January, end of January. So I've got some time to kind of play it out. I guess whereas you think it's covering opening, keep him very broad and truthful. Also, so your man is. I get his words. I do think. Okay, yeah. Again, I don't know John that well. I'm just trying to figure out his tells and trying to figure out what the fairly means. Because again, I'm not going to belabor the point too much, but if someone sends him an email, which he admits he gets emails, we know he gets photos and emails of, hey, John, this is where I've been. Hey, John, I went here and the box isn't there. Somebody moved it, right? He gets those emails. So he's certain of where you've been because of the email. He's certain because of the path, right? So the fairly is a little bit, it catches me up. All right. And 200 feet, Appalachian Trail's going to have attention. So these are he calls out 3 boxes in this, right? So again, the question that Jenny wrote is, are searchers close within 100 feet or less? That was the question. He answers, the Pokemon box, right? Fairly certain. Appalachian Trail garnered a lot of attention. Certain searchers have traveled. And again, this is where, this is where he responds in text. There's no footage of him saying this. So you could read this certain ways. I'm going to read both of them. You could probably read it more than 2, but this is how I'm taking it. Certain searchers have traveled within 200 feet of this box as well. Or, certain searchers have traveled within 200 feet of this box as well. I tend to believe because he had all the time in the world to type this out, that he is saying some searchers, right? When he says certain, he means a few searchers have traveled within 200 feet of this box, right? Not that I'm certain searchers have traveled within 200 feet, right? And then he says it's entirely possible, right? That's his coverall statement. And finally, the last one, there's one box I'm intrigued no one's discovered, as the lion's share of its clues have been solved. Now, so this is very interesting right here, right? Oh, no, Diane, you're not that late. We just started, right? So everyone says, oh, he says the lion's share of its clues have been solved. He means the lion's share. I may be in the small minority. I don't think that's the one he's talking about there. There is one box I'm intrigued no one has discovered, as the lion's share of its clues have been solved, yet these clues have not quite been seen to completion. Again, I'll hold off a final statement until everything's been said, but I don't think that statement refers to the lion's share box, and we'll kind of go into that why later. But Diane, just because you're joining, we're covering TTI today. All right, so I know some people are like, finally TTI gets a little bit of attention, and I've done prep this past week. I've watched the Treasure Hunt with Us. Right, funny story. I watched the old one mistakenly. I thought it was a new one. I'm like, this seems very familiar. Yeah, joke's on me. I watched so both the TTI Treasure Hunt with Us. I watched One Clue Short of a Treasure Hunt. Great job, Eric. If you see this, if anyone's not subscribed to that channel, they do some really great work. So I do recommend One Clue Short of a Treasure Hunt. And Kyle Lazar's, I watched that, and this is the Jenny Kyle we're going over right now. Yeah, so excellent point, Chase, the capitalization, and Jane Fenton. I'm glad, I'm not by myself on an island over here. Okay, so now that everyone's caught up, Jay Money absolutely does emails. Forgot about that, sure. Hello, all. Billy O'Connell. Hey, how you doing? Good. Welcome, Mr. Sir. I was gonna dress up as Cynthia. All right, catching up. Okay. So next one, short one. I don't feel the need to eliminate states, right? What do you enjoy most? He enjoys pictures, time together. Nothing really. Again, I'm not gonna go into super detail. I'm just gonna kind of call out the major ones that I think are actionable for people that are debating searching the next couple of months. Maybe you're deciding between two boxes to go for. Hopefully this video will help you out there. All right, so this one. So the question 4 from Jenny. One of my most important responsibilities was to protect these 5-of-a-kind works of art, whoever discovers them. So it's very interesting between the two treasure hunt creators, right? Well, you could say all three. So Chad Bird, treasure.quest, if you don't know, he's very open about what it's hidden in, right? It's a rock. It's a geode. It's about this size. He does say you'll recognize the outside's been a little coy about if it's painted, if there's some kind of marking on the outside, other than the open on the bottom, right? But Justin and John, so Justin has said, hey, there's a cipher that kind of gives a nod to it. It's recognizable. You'll know it when you see it if you've read my book and watched the doc. And John, we kind of have a rough estimate of size because he shows us the box that's hidden in. But he kind of says all 5 are kind of wrapped in the same thing. He throws out when, this is from Eric, this is why I really liked One Clue Short of Treasure. Eric says, hey, I came across an empty duffel bag. And John's like, yeah, he throws out duffel bag. He says styrofoam, like, kind of like dismissingly, like, oh yeah, no, this is definitely like when it's wrapped a certain way, like you'll know it and you'll understand it. And all 5 are the same way. And he also goes to say, like, it's not going to help you find it, right? Which is even more interesting because Justin is saying that what his container is, if it got out there, AI might have an edge. Where John is saying, no, it's not going to help you find it. I'm just kind of keeping it under wraps for now because reasons. I don't know. It's just I just find it interesting, the contrast between all of them. Grace. When I've showered, I guess, yeah, that might be true. Yeah, not Ellis. Okay, good. Okay, so the next one, well, this is still a 4Q. Mother Nature seemed relentlessly hell-bent on destroying one of our treasure boxes, and he had to go check. This one, I really feel strongly, and I'll give my reasons. They're not, I wouldn't call them proof or evidence, but I really feel strongly he's referring to the, what was it, Helene? That devastated a lot of the Blue Mountain, Appalachia area, right, in the North Carolina, Tennessee, North Georgia region, right there. Um, and again, I hesitate to dive too deep into his words here. It's just more. So when people brought up the fires, right, he immediately went to the local one, starts with a T, tele something fire, and then he was like, I wouldn't hide it in my backyard, right? Which I've never really thought Southern California was in play. Um, Northern California for sure. I still have an area in Northern California I kind of like for my PNF, but I really don't think that Southern California is in play. You might even go as far to say Nevada region. I don't know, but he was just so dismissive of my backyard, and I know that that could mean his literal backyard because he had to evacuate his house. But I would extend that out 50, 100 miles. I think, and again, I could be talking out of my rear end here, but I really think that Southern California is out, and I really think that the relentlessly hell bent on destroying. Because so here's the thing with fires in California, there's always going to be fires, right? Some areas certain prone, and the coast is always going to be hit everyone by hurricanes. But this one hurricane, Helene, did so much damage. The rainfall, the devastation by the waters and the overflow, the flooding. It just went so far inland that this was really a kind of freak storm of the century, right? It was just so far beyond anything he would have predicted, right? I'm sure he looked at the natural disasters for the past 10 years, maybe he went back even 20 years, and this is just so far out of the blue that I think this is the one he's talking about. And so for that area, you're kind of looking at Pokemon or maybe even the AT Trail, right? I really believe it's the Pokemon box, right? And so this fits in nicely with the what he says about early about the Pokemon box in question one. So early on, about BNR was hit so hard. Hemden Hollow, Goat Trail. You can still look on YouTube and see videos now. You can search Discord and see all the videos that people put up from that area. So that would be definitely certain that a lot of people have been in that area, right? Only after that area died down, people started looking more east, right? They started looking more Tennessee, more Georgia, more North Carolina. And they're still posting, they're still doing videos, and they're still sending emails to John. I think that that's why he can say that statement. I'm fairly certain searches have been on the path at least to the Pokemon box, right? So that's kind of my reasoning. It's not rock solid. It's not, groundbreaking or anything. I just wanted to share that, because I don't know if I said that publicly, that putting those statements together, I have a strong, and that's why I haven't been boots on the ground to BNR, because as strongly as I felt, I'm okay with sharing it. I'm okay. Hey, here's what I think. There's some aspect that's missing. So now I'm starting to look closer to the Tennessee, North Carolina area that I'm sort of familiar with because I hid my first coin down there, right? I know for a fact that there's great areas to hide. I know it's legally. I know it's very remote. I know the woods are very dense, and I know that a lot of people don't go down there, right? Some of the most remote forested areas you can get on the East Coast, right, is along that Tennessee, North Carolina border. So those are all. I just need to find a place where the Pokemon story matches up, right? We'll get into that a little bit later. Or shoot, maybe I'll just do it now. Right? He was very clear that the Pokemon story, he doesn't have any Pokemon with him, that it's a story of him hiding the treasure, him parking his car and walking to the spot. And everything in that story leads up. And I've kind of suspected that, but it's nice to hear him say that. It's also nice to hear him say that hit points. I don't know if you guys caught this because it was kind of toward the end. He kind of said it softly. But I wrote big underline, capital marker, highlighter. Because there's a lot of, on the Pokemon cards for the Pokemon mentioned, there's a lot of numbers, a lot of detail, right? And a lot of great theories I've heard are about, take the hit points divided by this, it's a GPS coordinates, or their highway names, their route names, their country road names. There's a lot of data on the face of a Pokemon card, the front and the back. There's a lot of numbers on there. So it's great to hear him say, yeah, you don't need hit points, right? I feel relieved in that. I feel relieved when Jan was talking about for their interview the detail of having to know about a wise old golem and when it falls into a mini golem. If you kind of looked at John, he was like, yeah, kind of just like nodding along, going with it, right? So I find that comforting that, hey, if you pretty much figure out the story, you don't need to know deep about the Pokemon lore, right? The aspect is the story. And it's also good to hear him confirmed. And if this was confirmed earlier, I may have missed it. But that photo is an actual photo that's been altered, right? Yeah, she says path, that makes me think, yeah. Yeah, another great call out, Jane, that he says path, right? Which again, that's it's got saying path has implications to it, and it's great that he uses that phrase. Okay, let's see. It's funny he says let's get wise for the fifth question. Gonna move down the line. Okay, and so here we go. This is what I'll cover for the sixth question for mysterious writings. The lion's share box. Other clues may lead to. I don't know. I guess I'll say this. I'll say this part now because a lot of the other there's not too much more detail from the lion's share box than the other interviews that I took that I'm going to talk about on the show. But I do like. This is not original to me. My thing was I was kind of like colors, kind of like history. I do think there is something to be done with history there, but it was nice to hear him say on what interview on One Clue Short. If you don't go down the history route, on One Clue Short of Treasure Hunt with Eric and his wife Laura, you don't need to go down the history route, right? So the history route can be one way, but there are other avenues to get down there, right? And so that's why I still think colors have a thing. I think art, there's something to do with the art, but I do think history will play a big part. It's just interesting to hear him say that. And as far as the excuse me, as far as the combination of clues, I don't have an idea. I haven't spent that much time with it yet. I'm sure certain people, actually, I know certain people think they have it figured out because I've heard them say it and they told me. But we'll see. All right. I do think I do want to get more into this. Interesting because I think there's some new information, new ideas I want to try. But it's nice to hear him say that it'll take you to a fairly exact spot. Let's move down to the Forest Fen box. Again, I've been saying this since my interview with him, what about 2 weeks ago. He came across this spot while searching for Forest Fen. I think a lot of people are starting to realize that. And I was incorrect because I used to think that there was a lot more clues in the text of that chapter. Now it's pretty much just the poem. All you need is the poem, right? He seemed to think, well, maybe there's one or two things, but forget Joy's Serenade, forget everything else from chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, 24 that you thought apply. It's just the poem. And a keyword, now you have two poems, right? Because you have his poem, you also have Fen's poem, all right? So if you think you find something, you can run them both at the same time, which I think is great, right? I think next year we'll see a lot more people and probably a lot more advancement on this Forest Fen box right there. The Pokemon box, again, this little larger search area, and that kind of tracks with what he said. It kind of tracks with the areas that we're mentioning, and especially with the way the Pokemon story starts out with the descriptors of where he parks his car and gets off. That's really, really vague. I think you might have some work. You might be beneficial. I know All Trails costs money, right? But there's other apps that you can use to look at it. I still like Trail Forks. Trail Forks is great. Trail Forks for the free membership. It's literally called trailforks.com or something. But you can click on the trail, and it'll show you people that have posted pictures or videos of that trail. So it's a little bit harder to find. It's not as easy to navigate as All Trails. But I do recommend, if you're looking at specific trails, trying to find ones with a large rock in the middle, trying to find ones that have trees that are up high that also go down low, elevation changes. I do recommend Trail Forks for that one. Past and Future box. This is another just blew my mind that he's willing to say this, right? It's stuff like this when he says this that makes me think maybe this is the easy box, right? I've been operating under the impression, I still am, that the easy box is the Appalachian Trail box, right? That's the easy one. Maybe Pokemon. But when he says stuff like this, listen. If you are closer to the over than the under, while in between, there are only so many spots where the treasure could be hidden safe from people and nature. That's just like, I just want to stop the camera right now and just spend all weekend obsessing over that line right there. Um, yeah, I'll probably do another video just on that. I don't, if I get bogged down talking about that right now, I'll just do the whole video. What we got, Barry? Him saying the story is about him just trip hiding. Him saying the story is about his trip hiding box and seeing things seems like it gives the No Dogs Empire State Building height and No Bulafont BNR signs more credibility. It does. It does. And there were some, that area was kind of hit. I haven't researched as much as if it was Helene, but I know the area was hit by some storms. So maybe it was a different storm that he was talking about. I mean, I like that area. It's just, to me, yeah. I don't know. I just, I'm just moving more east. All right, and the last one here for Jenny is the map I created. And again, this is, again, I think he gave, I love everyone here, so I take what I'm about to say with in context, please, even though it'll probably get misquoted. But I think he gave Jenny the most, in my opinion. I think that if you could only deal with one, it would be Mysterious Writing, 6 questions. For me, I got the most out of his answers to that one. And I really think, you know, I love Jam and Emma, that's no secret. Love Mike and Christy. Love Eric. It's a new relationship with Eric. We're still filling each other out, but I had a great time hanging out with him in the Poconos. But I think he gave Jenny solid gold right here. There's just so much information for all the boxes. The map I created, I'm talking about the Appalachian footpath box. The map I created for this treasure hunt has 3 distinct ways that point you to the treasure. One of these ways takes you to a fairly exact location. Another one's larger, but you will have full confidence in. So that's interesting right there. Another way takes you to a slightly larger area, but you have full confidence in. To me, that just, it can't be anything other than Vermont. Nothing I've seen, okay, I've seen the trails that you guys point to in not New Mexico, North Carolina. I've seen the ones in Virginia. I've seen, well, if you rotate it this way and twist it this way and move the scale, it matches up here. Or if you just do this, it matches here. That's not full confidence for me. It's that sentence right there, right? Another way takes you to a slightly larger search area, but one you will have full confidence in. To me, it's got to be Vermont, right? And maybe he'll release something out soon that will just make me look really dumb. But I just really, it's hard for me to look at it any other way. And I was not a Vermont believer at first, right? I really wasn't. So, anyways, we'll go ahead and the last thing I'll say on that is because I need to do a Appalachian footpath video pretty soon. I think that the trail, that's the slightly larger search area, but full confidence in. I think that the way that takes you to a fairly exact location. So in my mind, it's either the arrows and the lines or the symbols, and I think it's the arrows and the lines. I think that's the most obtuse. So to me, that makes it sense that it'd be the most exact, right? So the 3 methods, if you're not tracking, would be, hey, love America, love that, Port Lanthan Mia Musa. Hope I said that right. But the 3 methods are matching the trail, which you have full confidence in, right? Because the trail matches exactly, but it's a large area, right? Okay, I'm on this trail. That trail's huge. I've been out there once. It's a large area, right? And so even with the little arrows and the sign begin here and the thing, like, it's a massive area. And if you go in the wintertime, it's super cold. If you go in the summertime, the undergrowth is so thick. I went in the summertime because I'm scared of the cold like a little baby. But the undergrowth was just, man, it's so hard to see in there. So I can see how something would last there. And again, I think the symbols get you to maybe a little bit closer area, right? And the lines, I think, if you do something with, I don't know what, something with the lines and the arrows and the X's, it gets you to a really exact area. So I'm still going to play around with that. But I do tie in this statement with what he said to Mike and Christy, I think, where he said only one box has the name of the place is in part of the clues, right? So let me explain this in case maybe I'm understanding it wrong and everybody can correct me. But the way I have been working multiple boxes where I solve for a clue and I get something that's like blue, and I'm like, okay, let me look for the blue mountains, or let me look for the sapphire lake, right? So that's a name clue. Or uh, I solve the word search and I get a phrase, rail lines, right? Okay, rail lines. Now I'm looking for a named rail line, right? When asked the question from Calazar, I kind of was listening and looking at him, and he's like, almost seemed confused by it, like, why would you think that, right? It just seemed kind of odd. And then he thought about, okay, well, like only one, which maybe if you want to play safe, you can use two. But to me, it seems like more the clues are contextual or descriptive, right? I think descriptive of in a way that not descriptive of the name, but things that you'll see in that area, right? If that makes any sense at all. Three-way solo AT map. The 3 ways to solve the AT map seem like biggest revelation for sure to me. Agreed, LRP seems a lock, and it's likely the box he is surprised and found. I agree, Barry Casey. And I like it because it fits my bias, because I know you're a smart guy, and I think I'm like smart. So if we're agreeing, then like we're both smart, right? So we could be both delusional, but I hope not. Sir Frog, hop along, deep diver. Davio, what's going on, buddy? Davio, we're covering a little bit of JCB love today, a little bit of TTI stuff. All right, so again, that's Jenny's. If you haven't seen it yet, I do recommend you read it. It's a short read, and if you've read it once, I recommend you read it 2-3 times, because I believe that he gave Jenny some gold right there. All right, moving on. So covering Treasure Hunt with us, right? And again, I watched both their interviews back to back because I don't know. I'll user error on my part, but I'll say that. I kind of covered this, right? The no HP thing was huge for me for the Pokemon cards. No HP, no deep lore, and the photo was a literal photo. I thought that was pretty important. And some other notes I pulled from their first interview, right? Yo, Navoli Campbell, what's going on? Was that they're simple folks. His grandparents wasn't necessarily a fan of camping, so a lot of my early solves involved like really remote camping. Like I kind of moved away from that. And they stuck to major interstates, right? And again, I had some crazy theories where the circle, he says, a circular path, it's a literal circle, and that brings you to Illinois. So maybe Emma was referring to me when she was like, crazy people who think it's in Illinois. Sorry, Emma, but that's a joke. P&F. All right, so this is a good one I want to cover real quick. So I was deep in it, deep in the word search, and man, I loved Mike and Christy. They were really great about hosting Zoom sessions, live sessions, collaborative efforts. I think they ended up sharing almost all the information they got eventually. So again, really, really appreciate them, because some of the stuff I wouldn't have been able to figure out on my own. But when he says, if you watch the way he reacts to that, he says it a couple times, right? Some people are, he said, what is his exact quote? Did I write down his exact quote? Some people are smarter. He goes, I think people are smarter than I am, right? Which to me, yeah, thumbs up, hot dog champion. To me, it really seems like when he says some people are smarter than I am, and he's made this very approachable, we're going way, way too deep, right? So, love Dr. Krypton, Joe, Patch, a lot of those guys did some great effort early on. Great work. They shared a lot of stuff. And he says there's levels or layers. What did I write down? I think Christy, K-Pro, had talked about levels, and he, agrees that there are levels, which to me means, so you have the word search, right? If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I mean, you should, but maybe there's some new people here that really don't know. The word search, let me pull it up. Where'd it go? Book's falling apart. I used to have the page memorized, but I guess it's been a while. All right. Got a word search, right? You could say level 1, level 0. Hey, find some words in here, right? The instructions. You may ignore all 3-letter words and some proper nouns, right? All right, so we find the words. That's level 1, right? Or some people say level 2, right? Depending on on what you're presented with. I call it level 1. All right, find it. And then there's a message that's you can make from the words that are left over, right? Hey, and that's an anagram, right? So hey, that's level 2, all right? And when he acknowledges that, which I don't know if he knows he did or not, but he acknowledges level 2 when Mike, great segue, Mike asked, hey, did you has people found the 5 clues, right? So that's admitting that at least to that level, that's correct. I don't know if he noticed that or not, or if he did it on purpose as a bone to give us, right? And he goes, no, to his knowledge, no one's watched all, no one's figured out all 5 clues, right? Now, here's where we get a little bit tricky, right? So we can confirm level 1, find the words. Level 2, you make something of the words left over. Now there's a message, right? Level 3, here's where we get a little iffy because there's some stuff you have to do to get to the corners and to get that last bar at the bottom, which feels very intentional. I think the simplest explanation is going to be the right one, right? Because he was impressed by how fast we found it, but he says, hey, some of you guys are smarter than me. And when Christy was talking about the boggle method, the snake method, I don't know. Maybe he's a great poker player, and he could be. I wasn't getting anything off of him, and I wasn't giving any, like, sometimes he'll, like, nod and smile, or he'll put his head down, if you notice that Treasure Hunt with us, when he puts his head down for something. I wasn't getting into that. So I don't really know if any of the boggle or snake words are coming to play here, right? And that's going to be a dagger for the Tahoe folks, and I guess I'll double down on being the one guy that doesn't believe it's in Tahoe, but I really don't think it's there. 3D Bronze, what's up, man? Hey, 3D Bronze, it's a good guy right there, people. When you would boost on the ground for AT, looks like you parked on the north side. May I ask why? So I did park on the northern side. I wanted to go to an area. I was like 6 months late, I think. So I've been seeing Discord and YouTube of where people are hitting. I just wanted to go where people hadn't been. And I hadn't seen too much from the north side. So I wanted to do that northern approach. A lot of people go hit the southern approach. A lot of people hit the 1727 elevation. So I know that's been hit. I know the bottom's been hit. I haven't seen too much from the northern approach. So I wanted to hit the northern approach, and that's just why I did it. It just seemed a place that hadn't been hit that hard. So that's why I parked up there. That might, from what I've heard and seen, that might be one of the tougher ways to get in there. It was a lot of elevation going by the white rocks up there. But yeah, if you have any more questions, 3D Bronze, we can just ask them right here. I like the painting and 3D Bronze. When I go back, I still plan to park in that side because there's a snowmobile trail that I really liked. That I like the path that it takes. It seems like something John would take. I don't know. I can't explain that. It's just vibes, I guess, on how to get to the shelter. And I still think I need to do some more work with the symbols, but I still think the treasure is going to be found on the west side. No, east side. Yeah, my hand might be reversed. I like the painting. Thank you. I always, whenever someone mentions it, I always try to recognize it. It's my my aunt's late partner. She passed away cancer a couple of years ago, but she gave. She was a really incredible artist, really incredible woman. She sailed across the Pacific, I think, at a really young age, solo in a boat. She had a boat down in Hawaii. She traveled to Africa. She was a writer. She was an amazing person. Okay. I'm getting a message. I'm going to be late to dinner. Okay. So catching up here. Oh, here we go. The physical book. When asked why he didn't have an audio book, right? He says you need the physical book, right? So to me, whereas other illustrators, other big hunt creators are like, yeah, you can have the audio book. To me, the pictures that he spent so much time photoshopping, right? Because he answers that also in in Treasure Hunt with us, right? Emma and Jam. He spent so much time getting AI, getting the prompt just right. This isn't new information, right? He used to talk about this in another interview, but he did elaborate. He didn't want to trust an outside illustrator, which is why, again, sidetrack, I don't think Justin put any major clues in that, right? So John didn't want to trust an outside illustrator. He wanted to have full control. He wanted to put stuff in there. I really believe that you need the illustrations for the lion's share, right? that's just my opinion. That's just from the clues that I've been able to. I think I pick up on, right. I think that the illustrations go hand in hand with the text and the themes and the chapters for the lion's share. And when he talks about there's multiple paths, right? There's a history path. There's another path. If you watch his reaction to when Eric's wife Laura was asking about the art history, he seemed very intent on that. I think there's a an art aspect to it that could lead you to maybe a general area, right? Or clue you in on where right path to take. So that was, excuse me. I was sick, like 3 weeks ago. And for me in the wintertime, every 2 years, I'll get like sick during the winter. And I'll just be left with a cough that just takes like a while to go away. Let's see. Oh, so the AT path. I don't know how much to put on this one, but if you notice when Jam asked the question, right? If I start in Maine and my brother starts in Georgia and we both go, who hit there first, right? He's kind of like laughing. He puts his head down. I can't answer that. He says, even if I know. That, like, I was like, oh, hold on. Is it so close to the midway, that you wouldn't be able to tell? Like, because, okay, if it's in, what's the state next to Maine? I'm blanking. Is it Vermont? Is Vermont next to Maine? Let's use the South. What's the state next to Georgia? North Carolina? I apologize for my ignorance. I'm blanking on everything right now. But if it's in one of those states, right, like South Carolina, whatever, you would know. There's no debate, right? The guy from the South is going to hit there closer. But if it's any state close to the middle, now you say, well, okay, who's faster? Weather, injuries, a lot of stuff plays in terrain. A lot of stuff plays in effect, right? So when he said that, my mind was kind of like, well, if it's in Vermont, wouldn't you automatically know? But he said, if I know. So that did give me a pause, right? I don't know how much to read into that, but that did give me a pause. I'm like, oh, uh-oh, because I'm like pretty sold on Vermont there. But I wanted to call that out. We know the Fen is just a poem. I already covered that. Laws. Oh, one last thing on the laws and stuff like that. I don't think I need to spend that much time talking about it, because I think most people understand what he was saying, right? He didn't. If you're trying to solve his path, going the legal route is probably not going to be the best way to do it, right? Looking over laws on where you can and can't. I think if you just use public property or public land as your barrier, I think that's probably going to be what he did, right? Because, again, he's a little bit of a pirate. He's showing a little bit more of a pirate. Right there. Champion. Not just a normal one. All right. Let's go on wrapping it up here. The four-wheel drive. All right, that's a great one from Mike and Christy. Really like that one, and he answered it. The question was, I'm doing this under the assumption that everybody's watched all the new information, so I apologize if I'm covering stuff or kind of like half explaining it. This video is done under the impression that you guys have watched all the other videos I'm talking about. So the question was, do I need a four-wheel drive to get there, right? He was kind of like, no. And then he was like, well, you can see him thinking, right? You could see him going back in his mind to when he hit the box. Well, one of them, yeah, the road might be a little bumpy, right? A little bumpy. That's, when I hear bumpy, I think of a road that's experienced weather, either constant freeze and thaws or constant water flow over, right? That's just me. That's just what I think of when I think of like a road that's bumpy. Well, why did it get bumpy, right? And when I think of bumpy, I think of like, there's not rocky, not sketchy, or not. It's not on a cliff. It's not filled with rocks and boulders. It's a bumpy road, which again just makes me think of constant weather being over it, like snow and such. So, I think that's pretty interesting, right? The road I took, the road to Vermont, parking up north, that was kind of bumpy. I think anybody who took the southern roads, was that a bumpy road? Because I drove about, I think, 2 or 3 miles off the highway, which is paved, and then I had to go back roads to get to the parking lot. So that could be the Vermont box. Looking back on it, I think a lot of the trails to get to the parking spots in the BNR, or even in Tennessee and North Carolina, they're pretty paved. They're paved up until you park and then you get off. The roads I looked into, Northern California, again, they're paved also until you get off. I think for the lion's share, I think it would be pretty a paved one. So that's just interesting to think about there. Hey, yo! I do think each box will have a story attached to it, and LRP has none. Maybe it's, what do you mean story, Gwendolyn? Each box will have a story attached to it. LRP has none. You mean the area? Because there's a lot to the natives in that area. That the Green Mountains are a sacred mountain. There's a, what's it called? Vermont Obscura has tons of great stories for the nearest town. There's hidden gold mines. There's legends of a silver mine. So if it's LRP, it could be my bias, but there's a lot of stories to that area, and anybody else in the comments who like LRP, I'm sure they can throw in some stories there too. Yeah, this is Scott. My apologies. You know, I got everybody excited because the first couple months of this channel, all I did was TTI, like chapter after chapter after chapter after chapter, and then I kind of left and you know, went full tilt to the other one, and I left you guys with a little bit of a promise, like, no, I'm gonna slowly transition. I won't forget about y'all, but. And honestly, I did. I did kind of put you guys on a back burner, so I do apologize. But we'll get back to it now. Okay. Let's see. Lines, yes. So this was good to hear, right? This was pretty much, I take it as a confirmer. The coins, there's a lot of back and forth on the coins, helpful, useful. I kind of always thought they were, but there was no, like, proof, right? I think this is as close as we're going to get to hearing John say yes. By the way, his interaction with K-Pro, when... she was like, well, I said they use the lines, and you said I'm smart, so that means they're... I agree with K-Pro on that one. I agree with Christy that, you know, the lines are in play somehow. And I think, what was the next question? The follow-up was, are they used, like, the same way? I don't know if they're used the same way because the lines are all different, but I think they do have to play into it. No, you know what? I'll say they can't be used the same way because John said he thinks that we think when a box is found and the solve revealed, it'll help with the other ones. And he's kind of orchestrated so that's not the case. So I do think the lines are important, the coins are important, but they're used differently each way. And that's kind of my logic for that. Monday, hey, thank you, Monday Prospector. Hopefully, you know, hopefully this helps shakes. It's helping me because in the act of reading this over and explaining it to you guys, it's getting me excited for it. And man, I'm wondering if I can make it to Vermont before it gets too cold. What else? That's anything else left here that I didn't cover? Okay, this is again from One Clue Short with Eric and Laura. It's interesting to say that the clues are not linear, and the way I heard him say as they were kind of organic. They came to him as he was putting together, right? So, you know, I think he had a lot of fun assembling the treasure, right? I think that was like maybe 50% of his fun was assembling the treasure. And then he had a lot of fun hiding it. And then I think, you know, he had his researchers working on the history to the treasure. But I think in the process of assembling each chapter and figuring out his AI manipulations of the AI photos, I think that's where the clues kind of came together. I don't think he set out in the beginning with, okay, here are the clues I need to put. I don't think he sat down and was like, okay, I know I put this here. Let me look and see the GPS. Let me look and see around it. Let me see what I can put. I think it came very organically. That's what I hear him say, right? And they're not linear, right? So I think that's another aspect that leads it to be organic, right? There's different paths to take. For a variety of personalities, right? Let's see. Follow instructions. A lot of the detail in the AT map. Yeah, I'm going to cover that in AT box chapter. And that's pretty much it. So I've talked for a bit, almost an hour, a little bit longer than I planned to. But that's kind of the major updates, right? So quick recap for anyone who joined in and you're not going to take the time to rewatch. Jenny Kyle's 6 Questions More with JCB. That's a must. It's a must watch. It's a must read if you're interested in going out for these boxes. And then everyone else, they really had their own kind of gotcha, right? They really had their own kind of information that John gave. So I do think they're all very valuable. And I still haven't put my thoughts on camera about Dave's, right? So I still need to do that one. And I think there's a few more he did that I didn't put out. But let me, oops, excuse me. Let me quickly read the chat and see if anything I missed here. Hearing concept theories out loud helps shape them into reality. That's excellent, Davio. If Cake's team finds a box, they already made they already made it public. They're not sharing. They found one until they collect them all, which I mean I get, but with Sug Searcher, hey, I mean, I like Cake. It's no secret. I mean, I think she's fantastic and great, and she's done a lot. I've also been there when people kind of throw shade at her, and I never really got that. Doesn't seem smart to me to make someone mad who is doing all this work on something. So, I mean, I kind of just shrug my shoulders at that, right? I hope they do share. I mean, but if they don't, I understand it, and I've been there firsthand when, not calling anybody out particularly, but some people get aggressive or they kind of are rude to her and some of her teams, and so I get it. Like if someone's rude to me, I necessarily wouldn't be as giving. So, um, I see both sides of it. Just be nice to Cake when you see her, and maybe she'll share. Right? Stop being mean to people. I think that's kind of a lesson that we should have learned from the person that solved the tech clue with Justin's box. Right? There was a lot of animosity from the community. Right? So just be nice to people. Maybe they'll share stuff. But yeah. So and he's on the fence about it. Right? I think whoever finds it, he kind of made it seem like it's up to them to persuade him to not release it, which is interesting to me, right? But it's his treasure hunt. He decides how he's going to handle it, and if they make a good enough case, then he won't. But I think anyone who's been through the fan experience knows what not knowing the solve does to someone, right? So I think he's a good-hearted person. I think he doesn't want us to suffer with not knowing the case. Was I right? Was I wrong? How close was I? What did this mean? Right? I think he wants to do the right thing. We'll just have to trust that it plays out. But in the meantime, be nice to people, and maybe they won't. Maybe they'll share in areas we could be investing in another box. But yeah, I don't think. I don't think I'll say this. I don't think anyone's found anything, right? So if you're worried about, hey, I think someone's found something and they're not sharing, and John won't say, I don't think that's the case. I think he made it clear. If you read between the lines, there's a strong financial and otherwise incentive to come forward, right? So just have to trust the process with that one. What did Posey say about what? What did you have to be a little bit clear on that one, Anthony? All right. If there's nothing else, I'm getting ready to cut the stream because I've got to do some family time here. So thank you everyone who watched. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for subscribing, and hopefully we'll do some more TTI stuff soon. All right, that'll be very exciting. Yeah, nothing against the team. Yeah, nothing against. It wasn't you, but I've been there when some people were kind of rude to her. So I can't say that I blame her. Essie's Quest. All right. Peace out, guys. Later. Talk to you later. Bye.